By the way, welcome to, I guess, the first installment of the night game with Evan. This is where I will be breaking into subjects just by myself, or I'll bring on my own guests. Obviously under the PWTB name, but it'll be sort of my own thing, posted down here. So, Antonio Brown, and this is a bit of a sad subject in a way. This is a bit of like a disappointing story. But Antonio Brown is continuing to spiral. He was recently, about a month ago, back in May, he was at a boxing event, I guess, and then this is the information they gathered from it that he was having a fight or an altercation with somebody, and he grabbed a gun from a security guard. I don't know how if the security guard just lent it to him or like did he grab it by force? I mean, I guess he's a football player, he's pretty strong, but like, that's already raising question marks. And then apparently he almost, because he's getting charged for attempted murder, and I'm not going to go in the court stuff, but like, that's what he's being charged with. Is that he tried shooting him in the back of the neck during a fight or whatnot. You know, and so that's where all of this is going. And you could say like, well, Antonio Brown is, he's a very rich man, he's a former NFL player, all that, but actually, he's struggling financially. He filed for bankruptcy last year because he was being sued by a bunch of people. So I'm sure he still has money because, he's Antonio Brown. He can live off of his name. He could just start selling some sneakers or his face on a sticker or something. And I'm sure he could raise like $200,000 just based on that, right? So it's not like he's out here poor, but he's not having the funds. He doesn't have like 50 million in the bank either. Um, so you have to consider that. Um, but yeah, it's not looking good for him right now. And last bit of detail before I go more into my opinion. Apparently he's hiding out in the Middle East right now or something like that, like, avoiding prosecution. And I guess the one fair thing to say on Antonio Brown's side, because I'm about to be critical of him, is is that usually a fight like this, I've been in a city like Miami or Los Angeles or a party city like this where unfortunately this, gun violence and stuff like this happens that you know a lot of people probably go uncharged, right? And he's probably getting charged in part because of the name Antonio Brown. I'm not going to say fully. I don't understand the case fully. More information is going to come out, so that's silly to say they're only charging him because of that. There's a lot of you shouldn't do that, um but yeah, you got to let the details come out. So is it, and I don't know, it's just sad because you could go back to his Central Michigan days, where he was even having an ego back then. I mean, just go look it up on the Wikipedia page. There's stories about him having an ego, him having an ego right when he went to the Steelers. He never liked Big Ben Roethlisberger. Those two always fought. You know, He's fought with other former Steelers. He's called Hines Ward garbage, saying he was truly the best Steeler player. And I mean, Antonio Brown, I've been watching football since 2010. So we're talking like 15 years, now. Not trying to sound like an old man, by the way, because I'm not. But, you know, we're talking that far back. And I think in the 15 years I've watched football, he's the most talented receiver I've ever seen. And that includes guys like Julio Jones. That includes a lot of really talented guys, Justin Jefferson. But I still think Antonio Brown's the most talented receiver. I think he's the number two best receiver of all time, probably behind Jerry Rice, even better than Randy Moss in just terms of talent. But his career got derailed mainly because of himself, because he couldn't keep his ego in check. He couldn't stay on the field, and he completely squandered his Hall of Fame chances. So the Hall of Fame chances are gone. He's already lost a lot. Hall of Fame chances are gone. Respect is gone. Nobody, the negatives of off the field way outweigh what he did on the field. And like I just described, what he did on the field was pretty good. So he's already lost so much. And just so like only a certain like Twitter circle still thinks like he's like, worth following or listening to. I don't wish him harm. I wish he'd get better, but I'm not following his tweets. That's he's not a good person. He's a bully, you know. But so like that's literally all he has left, and the only thing he could lose is his freedom. The only thing he could lose is going to jail or worse, you know, not being alive, right? But like, you know, and it unfortunately looks like he's going down the jail route. It looks like, you know, again, we don't want to jump to conclusions, but he's already been in legal trouble. It looks like he's going to be in more legal trouble. And so yeah, it's really a sad situation, but it's a situation brought upon himself. It's a sad situation, but I guess I'll close with it's not a surprising situation. It's a situation we've seen with celebrities with egos, especially in like the music industry or the TV industry. Maybe not as much in, you know, pro sports, but the fame, you know, and I don't doubt that he has CTE. He might have that, but that's not the cause of all this. The cause of all this is his thirst for fame. And you know, it's a good example to, you know, if you've got, I don't know, say you're a coach of a high school football team, you know, and you got a player showing some tendencies like AB, like be there for him, you know. Absolutely, because this is not it. And Antonio Brown has squandered his name, at least for a while. I'm sure some people later on in life will like go way back and look at his stats and be like, wow, he did this. But you know, at least for decades, he's not gonna have a good legacy.